here is our, and we'll do actually this. So I'm going to leave the IPO for you to do for your actual assignment. So we want to do the include IO stream. We're not going to need string in here, but if you include it, that's fine. And we will need IO manip. And we'll do the infamous using namespace, assuming I can spell. Declare our main function. Put in our system pause. Put in our return. And if you want, you can do a cout and L just in case you forget it. So now what we need to do is we need a diameter. So that's going to be either an integer or float. It really doesn't matter because you might have a diameter of 25.2 feet. For this particular case, I'm going to use an integer. So I'll use integer diameter, and we'll initialize it to 0. And then we're going to use a float or a double, doesn't matter, circumference. Hopefully I spelled this right. So now we're going to declare a constant float called pi, and that's going to equal 3.14, I think it said 16. Yep, 16. So all we need to do now is cout what is the diameter. And of course we're putting a space here and no end L, so the input will be on the same line. Next week, make sure you guys remind me if I forget, or we do it on Saturday because I am going to hold an optional class. I hope that you can join me on Saturday at 10 o'clock. So we're going to do, I'll explain to you the issues that you can have with CIN and how to fix them if you get that issue. So we'll do cout, what is the diameter, then we're going to do CIN, diameter, and then we're going to calculate the circumference. So the circumference equals, if you remember, the circumference of a circle is pi d. If you get the radius, the diameter is 2 times the radius, so you would need to do pi d. So we're just going to do pi times the star key and the circumference. And that's all we need to do. So we'll do a cout the circumference is, now we don't need to worry about multiplication and we don't really need to worry about it now. Obviously, I have an issue here. So this would be a logic error. So we need to change this to diameter. And we're going to get a circumference is diameter. And what we want to do here, so we get decimal places properly, we're going to do C out, fix, and set precision. Oh, that's good. And 2. So what the C out fix does means we want to do it in fixed decimals in here. So we don't get any E's or any scientific notation or any exponents or any of the other stuff. We're just going to get plain old good old fashioned decimals. The set precision means how many do I want to do after the decimal point. So since we did 2 last time, let's do 3 so you can see. And it will stay at 3 until you change it. So let's go and run it and see what happens. Okay, notice that I get a conversion from float to integer, possible loss of data. You really don't need to worry about that pretty much in here. And then you also have a warning about double to float. If you're more worried about it, then just use double. It's no big deal. So let's do a 10 first so that we know that it's easy to check the results. So the circumference is 0. Okay, well that means we have obviously an error, missing something. This is why that you want to make sure that you physically check it each time you make a change. So if we did a whole bunch of stuff, we would have a hard time finding out why something's wrong. So let's go back in here, float circumference in here. What is diameter? Diameter equals pi times circumference. So I'm not 100% sure what the issue is. Their circumference is, oh, because I put diameter. Good job. That's why.
I think it's supposed to be circumference.
Circumference.
Times diameter, correct?
That's what I did wrong. All right, thank you. And the reason why this was 0 is because this should have been circumference here, and I replaced the wrong one. So, and so therefore, you always want to make sure that you do one thing and test it. Because see how easy that was to fix. Thank you for that. So let's try it again. And that's why you also do easy stuff to start off with. So let's do 10. And now we have 3.416. So that was pretty easy. So now what you would do, it tells us we want to calculate the cost of it. So what we would really just need to do is what is the price per foot. So I will start you here. So we can do an integer or a float, either way. So let's do another float. And of course you would comment it here. Now again, we need a comma, not a semicolon. If you want to do different lines over here without having to click float in here, it's easier if you put it on the second line. Just hit the enter key and then make sure you use a comma between it. If you prefer to just do it float, cost per foot, float, circumference, that's fine. So now what you're going to do is you're going to write a So here is get the user input for the cost per foot. and calculate. We have the circumference here. So we need another variable, total cost. And this, of course, is going to be the circumference times the number of feet. So that's all you would need to do. Is you are going to get the input in here for the cost. You're going to calculate the circumference. You're going to calculate the total cost, which is the circumference times the number of feet. And then you're going to print it all. So here you go. So here is your first assignment done for you, pretty much. So you can, let's run it to make sure there's no issues. So we're going to do a 12.5. And so the circumference is 37.69. Everything else is commented out, so we don't have to do this. So there is your fencing. If you get this, click anywhere inside and then click there. Otherwise, it will make you